Test. Yeah, makeup. Another feature is on each end, you've got factory cutouts here, and that's how you do the overlaps. So you're going to have one on both sides, on both sides of the 12-footer.
Your demonstration.
Well, yeah, I'll do one later, but that's basically what it looks like. So as they're cutting, they want to keep in mind that you have factory ends. Save some of your overlaps for when you need the overlaps. You don't always need them, but if you do, you want to keep them. Okay. So next, you can install it vertically or you can install it horizontally, whichever way. So what we're going to do is real quickly, we're going to do a vertical. We're just going to put some vertical panels up, and then I'm going to show you some horizontal. We'll do a lap joint. We've almost got the window done. We'll do the window, and then I'll show you a top of the wall. How do you do a top of the at the end or terminate at the top of the wall? So, Justin, you want to be my assistant? So, you'll see in this application, for a vertical, you don't need a starter strip. You just need the drip flashing. This is the drip flashing. And then I'll have a J-trim at the top. And what you'll want to do, we're going to put the outside corner on last, so you can just rough this up here and get it level, plumb. And we put your panel in. And since it's a vertical, you're not going to put it in, you're going to put the screw in at the top of the joint. Now watch how I do that screw. I didn't go all the way bedded down. I just have it loose. So this panel can still move up and down. We want that. And on a vertical, you want it at the top because gravity is going to hold it down, but the expansion and contraction, the heat and the thermodynamics is going to move it up. So that's why you want to have that. And then you want to go about every 16 inches down the wall. And then Justin has already determined the color pattern. So he's got it randomized for me. So you just keep going until you get all the way to the end of the wall and take these down as you go. So our two-piece outside corner can be put on at the end of the job. It can be done the very last thing. So we'll save that for over here. And where's my camera guy? The inside corner, you can do this wall rough, and then you just put the quarter round inside corner, you put it in like that. That one's not on all the way, but that basically will cover up and give you a nice inside corner. Yeah, so that's the look you're gonna get.
Obviously, you normally finish that wall.
Yeah, you would finish this out, but I wanted to give you an idea what it looks like. And then you see I've got a starter strip. That's the starter strip. So we talked about the 5 pieces. So you got your J, your drip flashing, inside, outside corners, and starter. So the starter is just the base. And then now that we've got this inside corner, we can go ahead and throw in our next piece. And that's what that's going to look like. You want to put some screws in? You'll do a couple. So he's going to put in, this time he's going to put it in the middle, right here in the middle of the channel. He's not going to put it at the top like we did on the bird. He's going to do it in the middle. And he wants to go in as straight as possible, but not too tight. So back it out just a little bit, because you want this to still be able to move. And what's good about the Harrywood Plus, it just seats right into its next section here. So that's what it's supposed to look like. If y'all want to come in closer and look and see what the joint, because I want you to see that when you're out on the job site, that's what you're going to see. And the customer's going to ask about that. They're going to say, is that supposed to have a little gap right there? And it does. It needs one. That's for the expansion and contraction, and also for ventilation. You can add some ventilation to it.
It's better than it was. It used to be a big gap. Now it's almost gone.
So that's the joints. That's our joints. That's our That's our vertical, that's our horizontal, just easy. And then when you get to a window, what you're going to do is you're going to have J-trim, and there's a video on this that goes into detail. And what you're going to do is you're going to put J-trim on the sides and the bottoms. And then notice what I did up here. This little piece right here is the termination at the top of the wall. So what I've done is I've taken this nailer and ripped it off and turned it upside down and put it up into this channel here, and it acts as a clip to hold this piece in. Yeah, this is something they definitely understand. So I do the same thing at the bottom of a window. So that same piece is right underneath here, and it keeps it from rattling too much. It holds it in there. And then at the top, you can do several versions. You can either have drip flashing by itself, or you can. A lot of guys will like to put an additional J-trim at the top, and that way, when you cut your piece, you bend it backwards. So you cut it a little bit longer and you bend it to give it strength. Because anytime you bend metal, you get strength out of it. So this piece will now go in here, and hopefully yeah. So there's one of the reasons why you want to take the plastic off as you go. You get that annoying little plastic, but that ends up being a nice finished piece.
Usually they wrap 1x4s around here.
Oh, you guys do?
Yeah, they put 1x4s around.
So they can take the full stock and wrap that.
They do 1x4, and that's when they set the window. They put 1x4.
Yeah.
So okay, if they're bad to the bone, what I would have them do is they're gonna pre-bend that cover with a J in it. You understand what I'm saying? You got something to write with, Ken? Are you Sharpie or something? So like, if this is the edge of the window, they're gonna bend. Looking down, it'll look like this. So they can wrap. They'll wrap that around the piece of 2x4, and then they'll have a J built into it. If they're really bad to the bone.
Add or do.
Or they could just cap the piece of 2x4 and then put a J just like
They
this.
like this on the end of the 1x4.
Yes.
Mm.
But yeah, if they wanted to make a piece like that, they definitely could.
Yeah, because most of them they don't put the window directly to this because they want it protruding out.
Do you guys sell your windows with a vinyl J built into it?
Most of the time we don't know.
Yeah. So,
Now
So-
we have ordered. I had some customers a long time ago order that when they were doing strictly vinyl. So they don't do that. Now they may do a different application on that when they're doing this regular. And now put the 1x4.
This is, you might have missed it, but Mike was talking about randomizing the boards. What will happen invariably, the guy will take one board, one number 2, and he'll put it all the way up the window. And so you have this dark spot in the middle of the windows. So you'll want to randomize these as well. So even the little pieces need to be randomized. Let's talk about the cutter real quick. So when you get the cutter, just take this little small piece. This is the cutter of the guillotine. You'll notice it's got a little die right here, and that's to fit this profile. Yeah, so you'll have it opened up, and you'll know it's right because it's in there flat. Okay.
it's got a mold that fits the profile shape.
And then this little clip right here actually holds that gap open. So that's important too. I see people knock these off. You don't want to do that. Just push that in, and then once it's ready, you can come down on it. Now it will pinch you here, so you want to use the handles and come just straight down with it. And it's a punch, and that's the safety. So in safety, it's not going to come down on you. But it's mainly just a punch right there. That's not sharp. But it makes a nice clean cut, as you can see. So it's definitely worth it to have one of these.
You make money on that part?
And I make money on that part. That's my bonus. Now it may still get a little bit of a burr in there, and that's where the pry bar, just come in there and pry that out. Just make sure that's open, because you'll want that channel all the way open so when you put the next one down, it seats properly.
So you say there's a guillotine for each point, so it's not nothing that you just interchange. Right. Every profile has its own unique thing.
So this is that saw. You were talking about this earlier, weren't
Yeah, I talked about it.
you? If you got a gable end where you got angles to cut, or you got those wider profiles, honestly, there is a guillotine for the big 12-inch that is this 6 feet long monsters. Oop, I didn't cut all the way through. It's cold.
Yeah, so they have a low RPM. This one happens to be for metal, and it's got this feature where it holds all the sawdust or the metal shards. Other ones, the cheaper ones, don't have that. But as long as it's a low RPM saw, or lower than what the blade type is, and you're using a carbide tip blade, you should be good. And you'll notice he didn't see any sparks, and this wasn't hot when he after he got done. If you would have used just a regular metal blade, this would be smoking hot. He wouldn't have been able to touch it. And you actually see, I've actually watched it happen. This paint will it'll heat up and it bubbles. It changes the color of it right there. So, and these are usually really, really rough. Let me show you, since I don't know how much of you guys mess with metal, but what the difference between red and greens. And the best way is just to show how it's cut. So when I cut, you see how that it keeps a nice edge on this end and it bends this one up. So this is my good side and this is my bad side. So with a red, you're always wanting to make sure you know which is your good and your bad. But with the green, it does exactly the opposite. So see, this time it's going to pull it up in the middle. So this is my good and this is my bad.
If you show up into an installer only has the red or only has the green, they don't know what to do. It's my new test of checks an installer. And then, because I show up to jobs and you'll have, it's just like around trims and stuff, you can just tell when something's not, it can be better and you can't figure out why. It's that, a lot of times it's just they're not using the right tool. And I've shown up on job sites and there'll be 10 dudes and they've all got the green. I was like, hey, where's y'all's reds? Oh, they're in the truck, we don't use them. Well, why not? Well, we're all right-handed. Yeah, but see, that's not what this is about. So I do a little class. Here's how you use a tool. They're like, oh, wow.
Yep.
So to me, and when you go to a real metal job, you'll see they'll have the reds, the greens, sometimes the yellows.
They might have a yellow.
And they'll have the hand seam
They'll have
in
the
their
hand.
pocket.
So the hand seamer, you just make little bends with that. So if I want to make a bend of that type, that's what the hand seamer is.
Straighten things out. It's a handy little tool.
So this is real good to have. And all of this is a skill. I mean, yeah, you can go out there and get a framer or a trim guy or a bricklayer or whatever. You can get him, you can teach him how to do it in a day, but it's a skill. So if I don't know who in the audience is maybe going to be an installer, but be gentle with yourself on the first couple ones because it's a skill that you're going to have to learn. And eventually you'll get it down and you'll be fast at it. I've been doing it for 4 years. I'm not out there installing daily, but I'm building displays. I'm working on stuff like this, and I'm getting better each time I do it. And I'm an old paint guy, so you can do it. It's just you're better off if you find someone that's already skilled at metal. And usually they're going to be your roofers or your metal siding guys that are already doing this. So the shear. So real quickly, when you get to the top of the wall over here, this is going to stack up, right? And so then the next one's going to be a little shorter. So I'm going to have to rip that to make it fit into that little piece. So I'm going to demonstrate that now how that works. So this is why the shear is good, because you can make long cuts. It's much better than the saw, and definitely don't want to try to do it with the snips. Okay, so that would be my cut for my last piece. So imagine there was a piece here. This would actually just go in just like that and gives you a nice finish. And that is very strong. You could put some caulk in there if you wanted to, but you really don't really need it. It's strong. And this is how we test it with the wind load test. So we test it this way and it holds up. And this is very vinyl siding guys, they all understand. This is not something we made up. It's a common practice. So I took this piece that I cut off and I just put it up inside there.
Falls down in there.
Yeah. So the last one, so now that we're done, we can put the outside corner on.
Those holes pre-drilled? Y'all did.
We did that.
Put them on once.
I had the holes lined up. Now, how did that get? Oh, I guess we moved it. All right, that's fine. So you'll see when I put that in, it bent it down. So you'll go in and then come back out just a little bit to where that's even. And you'll just go down the wall and do it randomly 16 inches on center. And that's your clip that's going to be the clip for your outside corner. So is this thing going to be later just used as a demonstration, like a display? Oh, I didn't know. I mean, so we can finish it for you. I wanted to leave some of the components, open where you can see them, like the starter strip and those types of things. But this, so some people ask you, how does it stay on there? Well, it clips on and it stays. Gravity will pull it down. Some people will put beads of caulk behind it, or what I've seen in most cases is I'll see they'll bend the tops or the bottoms and create a little cap that will actually hold it. So in this situation, I cut it out and I notched that to where it'll fit over the top. And then I can put it on and snap it on. But that's the idea, it just snaps on, and once it's on, it locks in. But that's the outside corner. This is the 2-piece outside corner, but you also have in the catalog a 1-piece outside corner, which is essentially 2 J-trims back to back. Some people like that look better, some people like this look better. It's up to you. I think that concludes everything. We did our drip at the bottom, we got our J's, we got our inside and outside corners, we did tops of the walls, vertical and horizontal, and we got your joints. That's pretty much it. If you know all that, you know as much as I do. Now, and basically it falls into the same category. If you're using Versa, same thing. Polymac is going to be a little different. Polymac has a U-trim, and then, or they have some junctions now. Board and batten is over here. So,
You just set them on the bottom and then the top height.
yeah. But grab me that batten filler over there. So board and batten, whereas that came in 12-foot pieces, these come in 10 and 13s. So in this one, you're going to need a transition piece, a horizontal transition piece. So at the top of, let's say you're going up a building and then you have a gable end. So you're going to have to put some kind of horizontal transition. It does not overlap. But the reverse and the board and batten do snap together if you wanted to create some kind of design out of that. But we also have a batten filler. So in the case of board and batten, when you get to the end of the wall, you can use this batten filler, because what happens there is you end up with a very wide J-trim, and you need a filler to fill that in. So I'm just showing you that because that's an additional component. I'll use the 5-finger, but some of the newer products might have 6 or 7 components. But mainly the 5 are the ones you're always going to be looking for, the 5 that we just talked about. I don't want to get you, that might be another class for another day to do board and batten. So the first time you get a board and batten job, call one of us and we'll definitely walk you through it. But just to know that, watch out for the 5 components, and then with board and batten and Polymac, you may need some additional components to make it work. So inside we talked about the screws, but since we got the cameraman now, that's what the Harry Wood screw looks like. And this is the wood version. It's got a wood tip on it. and the metal will just have self-tapping. The other thing that it'll have, you'll notice it's got a little smooth shaft on it. You can pass that around if you want to. So that's why inside why I said yes, we want you to use the screw, but just want to reinforce that. But that's the Harrywood screw.